You just had the best month of your career. Maybe it was a $20,000 month, maybe it was a $50,000 month. For a moment, it felt like you finally broke through. This strategy worked. The launch landed. The clients paid. There was a breath of relief for you, a surge of expansion, a feeling of finally. And then, almost on cue, the other shoe dropped. An email from your accountant with a tax liability that was shockingly the amount of your extra profit. A key team member gives their 2-week notice, sending your operations into a scramble. A massive unexpected expense appears out of nowhere. Maybe your roof needs replacing, or the car breaks down, a family member needs help, or maybe it was less tangible. You got sick right after a big one. You felt a wave of burnout so intense, it took you out for a week. A conflict with your partner erupted, draining all of the celebratory energy from the air. The high of the win was gone, and in its place was a familiar heavy feeling of firefighting, of being back at a baseline you know all too well. And there's this quiet resignation, a thought that flickers through your mind like, of course. Of course this happened. It was too good to be true. You've been asking the wrong question. You've been asking, why does something bad always happen after something good? And the real question is, what inside of me is engineering this correction? Today, we are doing a diagnostic on your internal set point for success. We are examining the invisible thermostat that dictates the absolute maximum amount of income, ease, and expansion that you are currently allowed to experience. So what you are experiencing is not a string of bad luck. It's not the universe testing you. It is the predictable mechanical function of a deeply ingrained system in your body. Every human has one. It's a subconscious governing system that is calibrated to a specific level of success. And when you exceed that level, the system triggers a correction event to return you to the familiar zone. Think of it like the thermostat in your house. So let's say it's set to 72 degrees. If the temperature drops, the heat kicks on to bring it back to 72. If it gets too hot, the air conditioning kicks on to bring it back to 72. The system's only job is to maintain that specific temperature. It has no opinion on whether 80 degrees might be more enjoyable or 65 degrees might be more efficient. Its only directive is to maintain the programmed set point. Your nervous system has a similar set point for your financial and emotional life. It's been programmed over decades to recognize a certain level of income, stress, and struggle as normal. This is your energetic home base. It's what feels familiar. And to your primal survival brain, familiar equals safe. When you have that massive income month, you dramatically overheat the room. Your system, which is calibrated for a 72-degree level of success, suddenly registers 95 degrees. It perceives this new unfamiliar state not as a victory, but as a danger. It reads unfamiliar as unsafe. Its prime directive is to restore the safety. And so it activates the air conditioning. It creates a problem. It engineers a circumstance that will reliably and efficiently drain the excess success, deplete the surplus income, and dissipate the unfamiliar feeling of expansion, returning you to the familiar 72-degree baseline of your normal. This is why your mindset work alone has not been able to solve this pattern. You've been trying to use conscious thought like affirmations, journaling, visualization to override a subconscious physiological process. That is the equivalent of standing in front of your thermostat and trying to convince it that 95 degrees is the new normal. You can tell it all day long how much you deserve it, how ready you are for it, but the machine will keep running its original programming until you get in there and calibrate the mechanism yourself. Your willpower is no match for your programming. You don't have a mindset problem. You have a calibration issue. So let me give you a concrete example of how this plays out. I worked with a woman who was a brilliant attorney. She had a thriving practice that reliably generated around $15,000 a month. It was a good living, yes, but she was perpetually busy, always feeling just a little behind. That was her 72 degrees. So one quarter, she landed this case that resulted in a one-time $100,000 payout. It was life-changing for her. I mean, the amount of money was life-changing. And consciously, she was like so excited. She made plans to pay off her student loans, invest, take her first real vacation in years. But subconsciously, her system went into a 5-alarm fire. The temperature in the room got to like 200 degrees. The correction mechanism engaged with brutal efficiency. Within 2 weeks of the money hitting her account, 3 things happened. First, she was hit with a frivolous but expensive and time-consuming lawsuit from a disgruntled former client. Second, her star paralegal, the one who ran her entire office, resigned. Third, she began having debilitating panic attacks for the first time in her life, which led to her second-guessing her ability to run her own practice. Within a month, the celebratory energy of the $100,000 was gone. The money was still in the bank, but her entire reality was now consumed with legal fees, hiring a new team, and managing her own health crisis. Her internal state, the feeling of being stressed, overwhelmed, and just a little behind, was perfectly restored. The system has successfully returned to its 72-degree set point. The money was irrelevant. The system regulated the feeling, not the bank balance. She stopped stopping herself at the level of her income. She was stopping herself at the level of her internal state. So this brings us to our first reframe. The foundational shift you must make to get out of this loop. Reframe number 1. This is not self-sabotage. It is self-regulation. Self-sabotage is a loaded, shame-based term. It implies a conscious or subconscious desire to fail, a broken part of you that is working against your own success. This is incorrect. Your system is not trying to make you fail. It is trying to keep you safe. Its primary function is survival, and it's learned to equate your familiar level of reality with survival. The pattern isn't a character flaw. It's a function of your nervous system's programming. When you reframe this from a sabotage to regulation, you take the shame out of the equation. You stop seeing yourself as broken and start seeing a system that is simply running on an outdated program. It turns a personal failing into a technical problem, and technical problems have technical solutions. You can't fix a flaw, but you can recalibrate a system. Reframe number 2. Your desire for more is not a sign that you are not grateful. It is a sign of your potential. Many high-earning women, especially those who have done personal development work, create a very subtle version of this set point with something I call the gratitude trap. You hit a new level of income, say $10,000 a month, you should feel very happy and grateful for it. You tell yourself, this is more than most people make. I should just be thankful for what I have. This spiritual sounding reasoning is often a very sophisticated justification for staying at your current set point. It gives you a noble reason to stop wanting more. Gratitude for what you have and the desire for what you want are not mutually exclusive. The desire for more is not greed. It is life force. It is the pull of your own future self calling you forward. Your ambition is not the problem to be managed. It is the engine of your expansion. Give yourself unapologetic permission to be grateful for the 72 degrees while simultaneously designing the system for 95. Okay? Reframe number 3. The problem created is always perfectly designed to neutralize the win. Have you ever noticed the timing of the correction event? The unexpected tax bill is almost exactly the amount of your profit increase. The business crisis requires just enough of your time and energy to completely take the mental space that you would have used to strategize your next expansion. The event is never random. It is a highly intelligent, targeted response from your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is an expert in you. It knows your exact vulnerabilities. If your weak point is guilt, it will create a family issue that requires you to give the money away. If your weak point is the fear of being seen, it will create a tech issue that makes your launch fail. If your weak point is a feeling of responsibility, it will create a team problem that only you can resolve. Stop seeing these events as random misfortunes. Start seeing them for what they are. They are exactly the engineered events created by your own internal system to drain the energetic surplus and restore a familiar state. When you can see the machine, you can stop being a victim of it. Now, the part of your mind that is highly intelligent and has done years of work is probably thinking, I understand this intellectually. I've heard concepts like this before. I've done the work to feel worthy and deserving of more. Yes, you have. And your conscious mind, the 5% or less of your operating system that you have access to, is completely on board with your next level of wealth. The work you've done has been essential to get you this far. This pattern, however, is not running in your conscious mind. It is a program running in the other 95% or more. It is stored in your body. It is a somatic imprint. Your nervous system holds the memory of every single time it was unsafe to have more, to be seen. It remembers the family belief that rich people are greedy. It remembers the sting of being called too ambitious as a child. It remembers the feeling of instability when your family's income changed. These are not thoughts you can simply just reframe. They are physiological data points. You cannot talk your body out of a deeply ingrained survival pattern. You must give it a new experience. You must, in a controlled way, create the experience of having more income, more ease, more visibility, and prove to your system on a cellular level that you will not survive. you prove to it that this new state is, in fact, the new safe. It is not about more mindset. It's about systemic calibration. It's about upgrading the operating system itself, not just installing new software on top of an old glitchy foundation. Your next income level isn't waiting for your next strategy. It's waiting for your system to register it as safe. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.